All right, you guys. Welcome to day 9 of the Financial Gratitude Challenge. I am Abalori, founder of 1720 Finances, 1720 Faith, and 1720 Apparel. And we are in day 9, rocking and rolling of our Financial Gratitude Challenge. This is the sister challenge to accompany the 30-day gratitude challenge over on 1720 Faith. And I put this challenge together again because even in the midst of whatever trials and tribulations, circumstances we find ourselves in, I want to implore you for the month of November to just give thanks and just show gratitude to the Lord, to Christ Jesus, for all that he has done, all that he is doing, and even though we can't see it, and all that he will continue to do in the future. And so, again, I think I stressed all this week that the reason why I put this challenge together as well is because I've realized that sometimes when I'm journaling and I'm doing my budget and I start out journaling one way, and then next thing you know, I'm not fussing or complaining, but I'm asking God, like, why is this happening? Can you please? Will you bless me? Is it possible? And I feel like I have done more begging and pleading and asking than just being grateful and thankful for what he has done for me this far, especially in the last 365 plus days of my life, this year and a half, I should say, this year so far. And so I spoke to them on the other channel a great deal about being in suffering and how I suffered in the last year with losing my mom unexpectedly, and then going through a divorce that led me into having some financial challenges. So if you want to kind of dive a little bit deeper into that, you can go watch out. I'll link it somewhere for 1720 Faith. And I just got done doing a whole 32 minutes over there. But in short, I don't want to rehash that because it's not, we're going to be talking about our finances over here. So what I will say is, in addition to me losing my mom last year, I also was going through a separation and a divorce. And I think I know I've pretty much talked about this on this channel, that left me with debts that I felt like I shouldn't have to pay. But for all intents and purposes of being a good steward of Christ, being responsible, didn't want my credit ruined, I just went on and took the hit of just going ahead and paying off things that needed to be paid off. I feel, even though to me that wasn't great suffering, for some of you who are going through financial issues, that can be a great thing that you're suffering from currently. Again, everybody is at a certain point in life where suffering is going to be different. My suffering is not going to be your suffering, and your suffering is not going to be my suffering, or nor is it going to be next person's suffering. We may suffer similar things, but our responses are going to be totally different. Everybody's not going to have the same exact situation or the same exact response to the situation. And again, suffering, I believe, is determined by that person. What I deem to be my suffering is not necessarily going to be, again, your suffering. And so while some people who are in way dire financial constraints than I am, so I can specifically say that at this specific day time that I am in financial suffering, because I have I'm not on the verge of, thank God, being homeless at the moment, or I'm not on the verge of having my cars taken. I'm not on the verge of deciding if I should feed my kids or not, or should I eat? Basically, I don't have that type of suffering. I don't have the suffering of, do I take the last $10 and just forego eating so that my kids can eat? That is a great suffering to lots of people nowadays. And it's not just single people, it is married people as well. So one of the sufferings that I believe that a lot of people are going to find themselves faced in is with this new administration. And again, I hate to kind of bring this up, but it is going to go hand in hand with our finances. But we have some people who their spouses may be the breadwinners of the family, and they may be in jeopardy of being, deported back to their home country because of whatever reason the administration deems them that they need to go back to their country. And that's definitely not a laughing matter. It's not a joke, because families will be ruined financially because of this. And so if you are a person and your wife is the breadwinner, but she may not necessarily, let's just say they deem her, well, she's not here the correct way, then we can send her back. Then what does that mean for that husband and these kids? What does that mean for this family who is now going to be without this mom or without this dad? Or if the parents are working and the grandparents are watching the kids to save on daycare, what is it now going to do to these people because their loved ones have been deported back and now they're faced with having to pay daycare, which we all know daycare is astronomical. And so everybody, I don't want to say everybody, but a lot of people are in some type of financial suffering if you are not in that 1% of millionaires that everything is now going to probably be catered to. And so what I want to say to you guys is, whatever you're suffering in your financial challenge, the discord that you're facing, still thank God, because even though it may seem bleak, it may seem as if you're not going to recover, it may seem as though your family is going to continuously suffer because of whatever the financial issue is, please know that you can find a little bit of hope in your circumstances. Please know that God is not going to allow you to suffer to the point where there's just no answers or you're not going to be justified at the end. One of the things that I encourage each and every person who is definitely Christian based, or you believe in God, however you want to put it, we all know about the story of Job. Job suffered calamity after calamity, tragedy after tragedy, consecutively. There was no time between the loss of his herd, his cattle, whatever his wealth. He lost his wealth. Then he lost his kids, through I believe it was a storm or a fire of some sort that collapsed his house, and his kids, all 10 of his kids died. And then on top of that, his friends all turned on him, told him basically in short, you've been a horrible person, so this is what you get. And he's basically saying, I have not done anything, but yet y'all are telling me that I'm a bad person. And so I suffered this calamity because I am a bad person. Like, how cruel is it that all these things happen, but then you have your friends knocking on your door and calling you, telling you, yeah, you're a bad person. This is why all this happened. You didn't do what you were supposed to do. That's why all this happened. And so imagine having that. And then imagine having your spouse. Job's spouse told him basically to kill himself. Like, your life is no good. Just go ahead and kill yourself. Go ahead and just do that thing. And so imagine having your spouse and your family just completely turn on you, and you're going through a rough patch that you just cannot, there's no explanation as to why you're going through this particular suffering, this particular rough patch. We know in hindsight that when we read the book of Job, we basically know how the story was set up. The devil challenged God that if you give me one of your people, if I do all of this, he's going to turn on you. He's not going to have faith in you anymore. Long story short, it did not plan out like that. Job continued to trust in God, even when he had nothing. When he shaved his head, he wept and he mourned, he was naked. Like, he still had his faith in God. And so when when Job decided that he was still going to trust in God, God at the end restored him. He gave him back everything 100 times over, simply because he continued to put his faith in God. He did not he did not waver. He didn't lose his faith in God. Now, towards the end of all his calamity, yes. And I wouldn't say towards the end, just throughout his calamity, he did have questions for God. He wanted to know why God was doing all this. He wanted to know, like, why are you doing this to me? I have done nothing but sing your praises. I have been a good servant to you. I have been a good person. I've treated people well. Why are you doing this to me? And I know for some of us, this is how it feels when we are in the mode of financial suffering. I will use me, for instance, again, because this is my channel and I don't really, know anyone else's circumstances. But I know for me, yes, I questioned when I lost my mom. I did question, why, Lord, why would you do this? Why would you do this to a person who was seemingly healthy, here today, gone tomorrow? Like, how did we go from a person who was walking, talking, we going on trips, we enjoying life, to congestive heart failure and then death in the blink of 21 days? But I also questioned him when I was going through my separation and my divorce. Like, why would this person do things like this? Why would this person not honor, what they said that they were going to do? Why would this person not do the right thing? Why would this person not want to, be with a person who is strong, who's caring, who wants the best for everybody? And no, I'm not saying that I'm perfect by any means, because we all make mistakes. But in hindsight, in general, why would you not want to be with, quote unquote, what I consider a good woman? And why would you want to treat a good woman who has done nothing but pretty much be good to you like this? Will I ever get my answer? Probably not. And am I looking for an answer? No. I have gotten closure. I have made peace. But in the midst of all of that, there was the financial portion. Why am I getting stuck with paying the bare necessities, and they're overdue, they're astronomically high? Why is it that I am getting the suffering out of this? Why is it seemingly like I'm suffering, but this person has got away scot-free? And I have to remember that depending upon your suffering, we don't know what that other person is going through, especially if we're not speaking to that person, we don't see that person, we're not talking to that person. But if a person is leaving you in financial ruins, they don't honor paying their bills, you co-sign them for a car or something like that, or a credit card, and they use it and they don't want to pay their portion, their piece. They're like, oh, well, you take care of it, your name is on it. Like, why are we in financial suffering sometimes? Because of other people. And we have to also look, part of the suffering is because of us, because we did things out of the kindness of our heart that we subconsciously knew in our mind was not going to be beneficial to us. But because we wanted to be a good person, because we wanted to help them, we went against our better judgment. So oftentimes in life, our financial suffering is often because we have caused this suffering. We have, and I spoke about this a couple of days ago, we do things, financial things, without talking to God first. We do financial things without seeking God's counsel first. We do things without taking it to him in prayer first. We just do it. We reap the benefits or the repercussions of our actions, and then we go to him last. And I know specifically for me, from this point here on out, when it comes to big ticketed things that can have an effect on my credit, that can have an effect on my finances, one of the things that I do is I definitely consult and talk to God first. Because if it's not going to come from him that it's okay for me to do, then chances are I'm not going to do it, especially knowing what I know now. Because if I do it, it is going to cause me some type of tragedy, adversity, and I may suffer from it. And so the suffering may be great, the suffering may be small, but nonetheless, it is going to cause some type of financial suffering or hardship in my life. And so for you, it may be the same thing. One of the things that we also suffer with is the second thing is when we have to buckle down on our finances, it's like suffering. We can't, a lot of us have really restricted the money that we spend going out, enjoying life. We have simply restricted a lot of that because we are trying to get out of debt and we're trying to get over the hump of this financial freedom journey that we're looking to. So for some of us, this may be suffering. The holidays is coming. I see all of the things being on sale. It's the extra 30% off. It's on clearance. You get free shipping from now until January 2nd. Like, we're suffering because we're used to spending our money the way that we want to spend our money. But yet God has ordained us or pretty much told us, you cannot continue to spend money lavishly like this when you don't have anything in your savings. You have not invested. Like, you don't know what this economy is going to be like in the next 4 years. You have got to tighten up and buckle down. And so for some of us, that's great suffering. For some people who have an addiction to shopping, that is suffering. For some people who have an addiction to the casino, that is suffering. For some people who just have an addiction for being on the internet and just getting boxes shipped to their house every single day, being on a budget, restricting the money that you spend is suffering. But we have to be thankful to God for this suffering, because as Romans 5 verses 3 and 4 says, not only that, but we rejoice in our sufferings. Rejoice that this is a happy thing that we're doing for us in our life. The less that we have, the more freedom that we can enjoy life. Let's rejoice in that. I know for me, one of the main, if not the main reason that I would love to get out of debt specifically is because I love to travel. I'm rejoicing in the fact that knowing once I have achieved the level of phase 1 of my financial freedom journey, I'm going to be so close to paying off my house and digging into my student loans that I can free up money to be able to travel a little bit more freely. The credit is going to be better. Not saying it is bad now, but it's nowhere near what it was prior to my divorce and other things. But knowing that I'll be able to gather more points and get certain, I don't want to say credit cards, but for some of us, we like to travel. So it begs us to have, a few cards that give us points for traveling. And of course, mind you, this is all within reason, but I am not a person who loves to use credit cards. I will use credit cards for traveling purposes only, but the minute I get home, I pay them off. So it doesn't matter if it's going to put a dent in something, I'm going to pay it off. But that's just how I've been bred. It's been embedded in me through my dad, because he was a person who had excellent credit, still has excellent credit, but he was a person that always paid his bills and he didn't pay his bills late. The second, the other thing is I'm going to rejoice in knowing that when this is all done, I'm only going to have 2 things left to pay on: my mortgage and my student loans. And prayerfully, I don't know what's going to happen in the next 4 years. I'm already preparing myself mentally to have to factor in student loans. But come the next presidency, hopefully they can do away with it. It's just a wish, a wing, and a prayer at this point. And so we know that we rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance. Suffering through this financial race, and it's not a race. It's a race, but it's a marathon. Suffering is giving us the endurance to run this race. And what I mean by that is we are suffering because we can't go out the way we want to. We can't spend the way we want to. We're doing savings. We're doing investing. We're switching our mindset. We're doing things to get us in a better financial position. And so because we are suffering, we know that if we suffer, excuse me, if we continue with this journey, which is the giving us the suffering is for being in freedom from debt is what's pushing us to run this race. It is giving us the endurance. It is giving us the push to continue on our debt-free journey. And so we are enduring this suffering. We are enduring this pain. We are enduring not spending lavishly. We are enduring this because we know in the end we're going to rejoice when we've met our goal. But in the suffering producing endurance, it is also producing a character. For me, financially, it is producing the character that I used to be when I didn't have debt, when I had little to no debt, when things were paid up, over, and beyond. When I bought my house, I didn't have any debt other than student loans. So that was goal for me. That was goal for me. And then the other debt I incurred after that was buying a house. So the character that was built in that process of buying a house, where I did not want to be in debt. I was not going out here spending money lavishly. I was making sure that my budget was tight. All of those things that I was doing back in 2017, 2018. That is the person that I am rebuilding now. However, this person that's rebuilding now is investing. She's doing more saving. She's learning to know that I don't need the latest purse. I don't need the latest pair of boots. I don't need to be at the top of the fashion game. I don't need all this name brand stuff. She is learning. I could be just as content and look just as nice buying Walmart and Target clothes. I have 1,000 purses to last me a lifetime. You guys remember, I lost a mom. So a lot of her stuff I've pretty much kept for myself. There was a few things obviously that I gave away, because clothes, especially because me and her didn't wear the same size. But I now have double a lot of the purses and things that I have, because when she would buy her a purse, she would buy me one. So we sometimes had the same identical purses and bags. They were just in different colors. She would buy her one color and buy me another color. And half the time, you guys, I didn't even know that she was buying me a purse. I would just go to her house and she'd be like, "Here, I got this for you." So now I have some of the same things, just in different colors. So with that being said, I've inherited her jewelry. Those things, I've inherited her perfume collection. And so when I say to you that I don't need to go out here and spend money again in life, probably on purses and bags and luggage, because those things I now have, this is the character again, but this character is greater than the character that was in 2017, 2018 when I bought my home. And with this character, he's giving me hope. He's giving me that this new character is more hopeful about her financial journey. She's more hopeful that I will no longer be in debt, that I can afford to take a trip when I want to take a trip. I don't have to necessarily count penny to penny, even though I still will. But even more than that, you guys, it's giving me more hope that my bills will be automated. Like, once this is all over with, I can automate each and every bill that I have and know that it's going to get paid. And pretty much the bills that's going to be left is just going to be house things. That's pretty much it. And so in all of this, I say this to say that there's thankfulness in our financial suffering. There's thankfulness in God bringing us through this financial journey. Yes, it feels like it's torture. Yes, it is a necessary, as I say, it's a necessary evil. Yes, we have to sit down and do our budgeting. Yes, we have to actually do a budget so we know what to tell our money, where to go, and what it needs to do for us. Yes, it is forcing us to sit down and take a look at our finances. For some people, that is suffering. That is heartbreaking. A lot of people don't like to talk about finances. A lot of people don't want to get into finances because for whatever, it's a trigger for them. It could be through life circumstances that finances is a trigger word for them. So they have to suffer, and now knowing you're an adult, you have to govern your money accordingly. You have to do things accordingly. It is going to make you, doing a budget is going to make you look in the financial mirror and say, my goodness, this is where all of my money is going to eating out, purses, shoes, things that don't matter in the end. And so the thankfulness that God is going to give us once this journey is over is going to be unexplainable, unimaginable. And even in the midst of everything we're going through, you guys, we have to give him thanks. We have to give him thanks for the circumstances. We have to give him thanks for the tribulations. We have to give him thanks for allowing us to get it right. And if not more than anything else, it's the financial piece of getting it right, knowing how he wants us to govern his money, making sure that we are good stewards with his money. This is the thankfulness that we can give back to him. And so as I end this live, I'm going to give you guys 3 questions for homework. So the first question is, how does gratitude in suffering change your perspective? Again, for me, going through divorce, separation, and getting stuck with paying off quite a few debts, I'm going to say at least my perspective is to know that I will never put myself in this position again. If it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't look right, I'm not doing it. I am never going to co-sign for another person. That was always something I never wanted to do. I never thought about doing. It just so happened that this person, I thought that they were going to honor their word and they didn't. So it's given me a perspective to govern my money more, to govern it more closely, to keep it at the vest, as some people would say. So it's the gratitude and the thankfulness of God telling me that you've learned, you're still learning. Now, the next person that I decide to bring into your life I'm going to make sure that this person has it all together, where you won't have to be the person that's footing the bills. You won't have to be the person that's, taking care of every single thing. I feel like my perspective in the financial realm is that God is going to bless me, with a mate that he is going to be able to provide and take care of everything, and then he's going to let me bring up the rear in what a woman is supposed to do. So how has God strengthened your character through difficult times? Again, for me, in the past 365 years, he has, as I explained to people in the other channel, he has made me fearless. He has made me fearless, and he has made me more fierce than I was before. I was always a spitfire. I was always a go-getter. I was always a person that didn't necessarily take no for an answer, and you wasn't going to run over top of me. Now I know, because of the suffering that I faced, the things that I've gone through, it has made me a much stronger person to know, A, depend on God, B, don't allow any person or anything to derail you from what God has for you. And if you stay on the course, God will course correct everything to benefit you in the end. So this is the character that he's built in me, that right now in my life, outside of losing my dad and my son, there's not pretty much anything else that could truly, really get me down. I'll probably say the other thing would be if something ever happened to my nursing license, because nursing is my backbone. It is how I do pay my bills and take care of myself and my son. But outside of those 3 things, there isn't pretty much anything that I feel like in this lifetime right now that could get me down. Like, I have the attitude of, if it happens, it happens. God's gonna fix it. I don't know what he's doing in the background, but going forward, he gonna fix it. He gonna fix it some kind of way. I don't know how, but he will fix it. And so the last question and the homework question for tonight, you guys, is reflect on a past hardship and write down the ways it has shaped you. Thank God for how he brought you through it. I just basically told you guys how my hardships have shaped me, how it has made me into a more fierce and fearless person, how first and foremost now I start my day with prayer and gratitude, thankfulness. I'm thankful that in this 30-day financial gratitude journey that he's bringing all of us through, it is making me more humble to realize I was doing more God can you, God will you, God bless me, instead of saying, God, thank you. Just thank you for each and everything that has occurred, each and everything that has happened, each and everything that you have brought me through. No matter how gruesome, no matter how much suffering, no matter how tiresome it has, I have made it through, and I am almost at the finish line. I am almost at the finish line of whatever I have, the goals that I have set for myself. He has allowed me the grace and the mercy to get through these financial goals. And so I know he's going to continuously give me the grace and the mercy, and the financial portion piece that's going to come from him is going to continue to propel me. So with that being said, you guys, I am hopping off. Thank you for joining me for day 9 of the financial gratitude. Remember, just give God thanks in whatever your financial journey is. As I always in every live, it doesn't matter where you are in your financial journey. Always give thanks to God, because if it had not been for him, if it's not for him, we will not be able to get through this journey. So tonight, I thank you. I honor you. I'll see you tomorrow for day 10 of the financial gratitude journey. Same time, same place. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Bye.